Hello. Oh, that's
That's a bear.
I got excited that someone else came, okay?
Millie is a very special dog.
Get in my lap. There you go. See? Is this better?
Yes.
Stay out of my drink. You are not allowed to have that. You're not allowed to have that drink either.
Which drink is Millie drink?
None.
Why does Millie not get drink?
Because Millie's not allowed to have booze.
Boring.
Okay, I'm gonna try something stupid and try and upload the Scardy video again.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. If I drop out, it's because my Mac's just crashed.
Alright, cool.
All right,
Do not
Millie
like.
has laid down in my lap, and I'm petting her tummy. We have seemed to reach a compromise for now.
Delightful. For the moment.
Who has the best tummy? Is it you? Do you have the best puppy tummy in this room? Do you have the best puppy tummy in this room? Don't tell your brother I said that.
Oh my god, I can't spell podcast. Jeez.
Jeez.
Boop. Podcast. There we go.
Oh, we're professionals.
We are?
Here we go. It is uploading.
Is, for now. Jinx it.
Oh no. It doesn't. Okay, the common factor is, rather irritatingly, Discord. Not like I don't use that for everything.
Yeah, right.
7 p.m. Boop. Set as premiere. Set at premiere. Ambient 1 minute. Save. I want to do it at 7 p.m. Save or publish. Check the following. Video elements. Encode details.
Everything is
Are we
great.
still doing season 2? Or just season 2?
Oh god.
It's the seasons. Ugh.
I'm proud that we aren't even sure if we're doing seasons anymore. We probably
Seasons are
should.
just when we stop for a while and then start again.
Fair. Really? You need to
Problem
eat my
is-
hand.
That when we stop, we can never stop for good.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah. Like, we're gonna take a
Just gotta
break for
keep
a
going.
week. Then after a week, we're like, I need to record some words out of my mouth. I am going to lose it.
The life update over here. The Tummy Pets compromise has passed, and now it is eat the hand time.
We have gotten to that point.
It's time to destroy.
I'm sure that Millie knows exactly what she's doing and why. It's a logical explanation here.
Wish I could bite hands.
And you could.
not
You're just
good.
gonna explain yourself a little more than a dog.
It is. Yeah, it's the explaining part.
Well, just refuse.
I'll
Just
just
say
like-
no. Just say
Just
no.
no. I have my own reasons.
I think
I
that would
work in
work.
mysterious ways.
I think it would work. Why is Sif biting hands? Nah, that's just Sif.
That's just me.
Or,
I bite hands now.
and hear me out. Why is Sif biting hands? Oh, Sather.
Yes. No one knows. I'm now trying out a new technique.
And biting.
Yes. May or may not be related.
Shh.
My Amazon package is 8 stops away.
Oh, that's nice.
8 stops away.
Definitely
I think
not.
that's a
I'm
lie.
definitely not multitasking.
I'm
Totally not bending my nails right now.
totally not getting my hands chewed on by a dog right now.
Say there.
Maybe I could chew my own hands. See?
Could chew your own hands. It's a devotional act to
Faithful.
hell.
What?
Or Tia.
What?
Oh god.
What?
Or would that be Tyr or Fenrir?
It would be Fenrir. It's devotional act of Fenrir. There we go.
And
Brilliant.
hand chewing for Fenrir. That's This is why people don't take pagans seriously. And now we're
And
recording
we've
it.
come full circle again. Doggos.
Today's episode of Cringe Pagans. Eat your own hands in honor of Fenrir.
Da-da-dun-da-da.
I mean, honestly,
You
support that.
uses what you have.
But you won't have it for long if you do it right. Reminds me of that person that came into Nike server and was like, I was initiated into runes authentically, just as Odin was. Because they... Yeah!
Did they hang themselves from a tree?
No,
For 9
no.
nights?
But they did almost die.
What?
Brilliant. Yeah, do that.
Did they sacrifice themselves to themselves, or did they sacrifice themselves to Odin? I'm being
I
so
don't know. I
sarcastic
don't know
right now.
what the
Don't do
logistics
that.
was. There were a number of concerning things we had to address, and when the was initiated into runes authentically,
Did they stab out an eye?
What does it even mean?
yeah, they mean that they did a they attempted a self unalive is what it meant. That's
Brilliant.
how they learned the
Yes,
runes.
because every Nordic person of the time did that.
The problem is that wasn't even the first concern that we had to address in their introduction post, so you know it was rough.
Oh,
That wasn't the
geez,
first
okay.
concern.
No.
Oh my
We'll
god.
come back to that bit later.
Oh.
Oh, it was so rough.
Millie's like, oh, you are emotionally distressed. Let me lick your face.
That Millie is a good emotional support baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess I'm in charge of this episode or something.
Okay, can you not lick my face right now?
Oh my
No.
days, we have a visitor.
Hi, Sam. I haven't even started this yet.
Oh, good. All right, Millie. Can you not lick my face right now?
Millie, please.
Okay, I'm gonna put you back onto my lap. There you go. Yes.
Surprised Millie didn't freak out at the join sound. Usually that's a pretty solid trigger for a Millie attack.
I mean, she was licking my face already.
Oh.
Maybe she'll get...
Oh dear.
So we're gonna do it. Okay, I'm gonna start
Okay.
this now.
Yay.
And I'm gonna scroll to the top of my dock so I can start at the top.
No, I think you should start in the middle.
I love that idea, and then just piece it together. Make more work for you.
Do we want to, like,
No!
record this backwards? We need to learn how to speak backwards on the fly.
If why are you
Okay,
upset?
let's go with this. Wef, ara, ereth, tni, lo hol kala.
Oh, God.
Goblin.
Ellie will
Goblin.
just scream. It'll be fine.
Okay, we're gonna start this now because I have to be places in a little over an hour.
I'm proud of you.
I'm not.
We need to go through the entire dock.
Wait, you
backwards.
have to be there in a little over an hour? You have to drive there?
Chum.
I have to start driving there in a little over an hour.
Okay.
It's
God.
9:20. I need to be at not this Sam, but a different Sam's house between 10:30 and 11.
Ming Jolfer's house?
Yes. That one.
Okay.
Recognize the utility of the nickname. I'm not committing to it.
I'm proud of you.
I'm not. Okay, we're gonna start it.
Okay.
I said that 6 times, but we're gonna do it this time.
Let's do it.
Hey, hi. Welcome to another episode of Heathen Wyrdos Podcast. Today we are getting smashed, hammered, wasted, and otherwise drunk as fuck with the gods. Our pantheon loves a good brewski. Can they actually get drunk? Let's talk about it for about an hour and reach no solid consensus. I'm Kenna. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm Sif. My pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Theo. My pronouns are they, them.
So the obvious place to start here is with the myths we have about alcohol. We have a few. I picked my favorites. The first one I picked, we have a few. We really do.
What?
Real fun. I have a few. first one I picked was one of the Have 'em all verses, just because we should probably start out with the "Hey, drinking is not required for heathenry" point, as we're going to be talking about alcohol.
Yeah, that's good.
So, actual literal
That's good.
words of our bro Odin here. There is not
Burden.
as much good as men claim there is in alcohol for one's well-being. Man knows less as he drinks more and loses more and more of his wisdom. Let's have 'em all 12. Be an alcoholic to be a heathen.
Dun, dun, which is funny considering the other stories we have on Odin.
Ooh. You got a point. If any god can actually get drunk, it's probably Odin. But I read somewhere, I don't think it was true, that Odin only drank wine. That doesn't seem correct.
Mm-hmm. I know that's the thing, isn't it? It's, or at the very least, he doesn't eat, he drinks.
I feel Odin
as an alternative
is more of one of those gods that's like, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, he's that kind of dad. A little bit. It is, no, I can't believe that Odin only drank wine, because in the Mead of Poetry story, he drinks a ass ton of mead.
Well, mead is technically a wine.
You'll get that pun thing.
Some people consider it a wine.
Oh, why does it have a
honey
different
wine.
name? Why does it have a different name if it's the same thing?
Because...
Is it like rosé is a wine, but we call it rosé?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, they sell it as honey wine, don't they?
I mean, I've made
Maybe.
mead before, and I've made wine before. It's not a very dissimilar process. I mean, I guess...
Here's the first question, then. Do you consider mead wine, audience?
Oh, God.
We'll just answer that in the comments or whatnot. Is my recording okay? My thing seems to be perpetually in the red.
You are a little louder than normal, but like you're not like obscenely so.
I might have actually turned the volume up.
I'm proud of you.
I can adjust that in post.
It's fine. We're fine. Okay, we're gonna pick a topic and stick to it. Do we have thoughts about Have 'em all 12, or should we bounce on over to the Mead of Poetry story?
I mean, my only thoughts are do as I say, not as I do. That's all I got.
Sif, do you have thoughts?
I mean,
you had a sound.
I had a sound, and that sound was to echo the thought of the Have 'em all is pretty much littered with this sort of sentiment. It's not. There is no sort of idea around you must get drunk or you must consume a lot of alcohol. It's pretty much the opposite. It is, the less you can observe about the world around you, the less that you're on high alert. Then that's where a lack of wisdom comes from. So anything that contributes to that is bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's the thought.
Yeah, and then of course we're talking about something spoken and then written down in a time where water wasn't inherently safe. So alcohol is gonna be one of the safer things to drink.
Yeah, but
which is probably why it shows up in the stories all the time.
I know, based on my Christian upbringing, because I went to a church where you had to do their education process before you could fully participate. They discussed this idea of, it's okay, keep in mind this is like Middle East-ish, Mediterranean-ish area, like, so different, but probably still about the same. They didn't have water purifications, like, systems like we do today, so everyone drank wine and beer and stuff like that because it was processed and it was safe to drink, but also, like even children, that was what they drank. But keep in mind, a lot of stuff from back then was only, like, 2 or 3%, so...
Dude, really have to
Yeah, we've spoken about this before. The day beer.
Yeah. Day beer?
The day beer.
Everyone has their morning beer.
Beer for breakfast.
Wait, what?
The morning beer.
I wish I had a morning beer.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, they used to drink beer for breakfast, among other things.
Among other things?
As in, they had actual breakfast and then they drank the beer on the side.
Oh, yeah. That's Very
I
European.
didn't just have a liquid breakfast. That would have been bad. Oh yeah,
Unless
that's
it was a
that's
smoothie.
British upbringing.
I
It's
haven't
real
heard
European.
the phrase liquid breakfast since I was in college.
Meant something different in college.
It did mean something different in college.
Yummy.
Did it?
Yeah. All right.
I'll Google that at a later point.
I'm so sorry. So, okay, we'll go to the meat
No,
of
what am I going
poetry
to bump
story.
into?
Because I had never read this story like fully up close. I understood that the meat of poetry story was this really great, super intense metaphor for fervent inspiration and a correlation or connection between alcohol and being divinely inspired and poetry and creativity and all of that wonderful stuff. Holy Lord, this myth is fucking insane. This myth is wild.
The bit near the end is my favorite.
TLDR'd it because it ends up being really long and drawn out. The point here is that after the Aesir-Vanir War, they made a truce. Made this truce by spitting into a pot. Everybody just spit into a pot.
So the gods have spit.
They do. They have spit. They spit into a pot. Add that to the list of things we know about gods. They have spit. Got it. So they spit into a
And
pot.
pots, yeah.
Somewhere along the way, their spit was turned into a person. His name was Kvasir. He was a very smart person.
Yeah, he was.
Lord, he was a
Mhm.
smart person. Kvasir visited a couple dwarves. They killed him just for fun. No reason given. They just did murder. Poured his blood into
As you
pots.
do.
This man cannot escape being in a pot. So they poured his blood into a pot, mixed it with honey, and created a mead. Anybody who drank said mead could become a poet or a scholar. Dwarfs explained to the gods that Kvasir had suffocated in intelligence. He was just too smart to live. He had to die. That was the rules.
Same here, Kvasir. Same here.
Every college student relates.
Yeah.
Something, the dude named Suttinger ended up guarding the vat of mead. You can't just let that go. It's very important. Odin, being the giant fucking dork that he is, had to go find it. It was very important that Odin found this mead for reasons. Reasons like knowing things, because he's Odin. I'm not going to go through the whole story. What ended up happening was Odin found a way to spend the night in the same place as the mead. With Suttinger. Suttinger offered Odin a drink of the mead every night he stayed because he's a good fucking host. We know how this works. He's a good host. He's not going to be like, no, you can't have that. You can have a sip. Offered Odin a sip. Odin fucking chugged that shit. Just drained the pots. There were 3 pots. He drained them. Took them. Suttinger was not pleased.
What?
So Odin apparently transformed into an eagle and flew away. Suttinger figured this out, but also took off in the shape of an eagle to catch Odin, because Odin was being an asshole.
Mhm.
I don't know when or where the planning happened, but somehow the Aesir knew this was happening. So they got some pots out, and just as Odin flew into Asgard, he spat his mead, just regurgitated it into the pots for the Aesir.
Yes.
But also, and the chase was so close. It was so close that Odin, our wonderful head god, Lord Broden himself,
The high god. The high one. Harvey.
he was so nervous because this chase was so close that some of the meat of poetry dripped out from his butt.
Literally from his anus. Yes.
Correct.
No.
And fell. This specific mildly tainted portion of the meat is called the Rye Master's share. So
That's one way of putting it.
This reads to me as like, this is what the people who like me who make puns got. It's our portion. But most of
The
the mead,
butthole portion.
yes,
But mead.
God,
correct.
that explains so
So
much.
most of the mead went to the gods and to those truly gifted in poetry. Some of us got the tainted part, literal tainted
Truly.
part.
That explains a lot about some like historic poetry and playwriting.
This is such a good
It kind of
one.
gives a new meaning to talking shit, though, doesn't
It
it?
does.
Yeah, talking out your ass absolutely means something else
Yeah.
now.
It does. Oh God.
Yep. So, listeners, have fun with that imagery.
Oh,
Well
God,
done.
just considering.
Wouldn't it be funny
Also,
if
that means
the-
that the good poetry was just vomited mead.
Yeah.
eagles?
Eagle
It
vomited
would be
mead.
very funny if they got confused with that it was Thiazi incoming in eagle form,
Oh, Christ, everybody turns into an eagle.
and they lay out the plane shavings.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they
Mythic
just
time.
immediately obliterated someone arriving in eagle form.
Okay,
Yeah,
This is-
exactly.
point that I hadn't considered. If the gods, the original question of this whole episode is, can the gods actually be drunk? He chugged 3 vats of mead and was still able to not get got by Suttinger in the form of an eagle. I don't think
Okay.
he was drunk.
Maybe Odin is a athletic drunk.
Oh, okay. I've seen,
Definitely a type.
yeah, like I've seen people do some pretty impressive stuff under the
Oh,
influence.
that's true.
So,
Yeah, but do you think he could fly
We
straight?
can.
oh,
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. He can. That's impressive.
It's impressive if he was intoxicated. I'm impressed.
Maybe Odin can't get drunk. He just gets inspired. Or very frenzy.
He doesn't get
Yes.
drunk, he gets frenzied.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So-
Like, mead affects each of the gods in very, very specific ways. And for Odin, it's that.
They are all archetypes of drunkenness.
becomes the Roadrunner. Is that
Mhm.
what you're telling me?
Yes.
No, that's a type. Sometimes when people get drunk, they need to go on adventures and not tell anybody.
Literally me.
No. Poor.
It's just like,
I just
"Bye,
become-
let's go."
A hobbit with a journey. An adventure is happening.
Okay, but
and
I
run
am
out the
here
door.
for that hobbit life. Like no shoes, loose like capri pants, like
Second breakfast.
9 meals a day.
Yes,
Yeah, I am
onesies.
here for that. Okay, like can't stop me. Anywho. Now that
Gods
I've
can get drunk.
it
Well-
only when they want to.
Oh, maybe there's a switch they can flip.
Oh, wouldn't that be useful?
Because the other myth we have,
I mean, I get that. That sentiment is great.
yeah, I love that. Because the other myth we have that I chose to highlight here today on this earth is Lokasena, the frat party of the gods
God, yeah.
story.
That's a good description.
Just kind of
Uh-huh.
hinges on drunken banter.
Okay.
We are that one, but it's way shorter because the whole story is that basically the gods are having a kegger at Aegir's, and Loki gets a little too drunk and starts insulting everybody. That's the whole story.
Isn't that when
Yeah, and
Idun's like, Loki's kind of cool and stuff, like, let's calm down. And
Mhm.
Loki's like, get fucked.
Yes. Yep.
yeah, and at least we know that from Idun that Bragi is apparently quote unquote drunk, or
yeah.
you know, Mead has loosened his lips or whatever.
Mead has loosened his lips, which
So
is
at
a
least
nicer way
there
to
is an
say it.
understanding. Yeah, the so at least from the kind of humorized, potentially Snorri / Poetic Edda version, because we do have a sort of retelling of this in the prose Edda as well, that there is at least from the 12th, 13th century, an understanding that the gods could get drunk.
Okay.
But what
And
would be
into mythic
useful is to see how
literalism.
far back. Yeah.
I think mythic literalism.
Because
for the
Locus
sake of
Center is a
this
pretty
fun.
old one.
Locus Center is old.
Yeah.
It's funny. And the
Yes,
fact
it
that
is.
it's so old and still so funny makes it one of the best myths because it's fucking timeless.
The kegger
It is.
is timeless. You heard it here first.
Kegger of the Gods, it is a timeless story. Everybody's been to that party where someone was that guy and got so drunk that he had to insult everybody. And even when someone was like, hey man, you're not even a bad person. Can you just, like, stop being a dick?
It's like, watch
Goes,
me be a
"Fuck
bad
you."
person.
He goes, no, also,
His
you're a
insults
slut.
have two flavors, though. Exactly. His insults are to the women, you sleep around too much, and to the guys, you're too feminine, essentially.
Yes.
And that's
Which is
it.
super funny coming from Loki.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's the hill you want to die on here?
Yep. I think it's because he assumes that no one else is going to go to his level.
He's like,
No,
I can say this
feels
because no one
like-
else
I can
will.
say whatever the heck I say.
Because no one else will.
Yeah.
The other gods are like, hold my beer.
Yep.
I think Odin specifically is it Odin that specifically calls him out? The queer point?
They do have a back and forth briefly, yeah.
Odin has
Because,
You
back
know,
and
that's
forth
what I
with
call
everyone.
being a woman.
Yeah. Because
Oh, yeah.
Loki specifically goes, hey, you're effeminate. And Odin goes, bro, literally no you.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
Really incredible
like-
argumentative skills.
So this is basically the point where we start pointing out that, like, Asgard is just kind of like continual party mode. Like it's like having an apartment complex full of young college students and like some grad students.
Yep.
So like a lot of them are in continual party mode, and like there's like some grad students like Freya that's just like, dude, I'm so busy right now. Can you just not do this?
Oh,
And they're
Friggs
like-
upstairs like, I have an exam tomorrow. Go somewhere else.
Loki comes and is like, hey, this shit's going down, blah blah blah. Like, I really need you to help me fix it. And they're just like, take my cloak and leave me the fuck alone.
Or he just goes into rooms and steals shit.
For that.
Just constant.
just
You gotta have a
borrows.
constant head on a swivel.
And
Borrowing.
the basement is where they keep the mile-wide cauldron.
Mile wide cauldron. Oh, that's
Yeah.
also a story. That's
This is a story.
Oh, I'm
Forgot
Yeah, it
that
is.
story.
thinking of the same story because I'm thinking of that time Thor drank the ocean.
That is a different story.
Oh, God.
Because
There are so many
I'm
stories.
thinking of when Tyr and Thor go to Tyr's parents' house,
Yeah.
and they really want that mile-wide cauldron, and Tyr's dad's just like, this is my cauldron, and Tyr's mom's just like, take this fucking cauldron out of my home. I don't want to clean it anymore. I'll distract your father. Take it.
Just get it out.
And
Yes, sir.
so she does that, and they're like, lol, motherfuckers, we got a mile-wide cauldron.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect for jungle juice.
Jungle juice? Oh.
Here we go, Jungle Juice. I actually read that what that
Oh,
was
you did?
the other day.
Oh.
So yeah,
welcome.
How did
Yeah.
you say?
so yes, we got Hymir. That's that story, isn't it? And I think that's the one that also involves fishing for Jormungandr.
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah. But the other one is Loki and Thor going on an adventure. And they run into a giant pretending to be another giant. And I'm so bad with names, guys.
These names are hard to follow.
They are. Yeah, it's a Thor and Loki adventure. And it's one of my favorites.
Classic.
And, you know, even though it's one of my favorites, I still can't remember the name of it.
That's okay. What did they do? They just found a giant friend?
And then tried to, like, defeat him at challenges, and
I'm enjoying this retelling.
Is that the one where Loki gets bested by Loki?
Their names confuse me. I genuinely thought they were different names for the same person.
I mean, I understand that. But yeah, and like, so Thor goes into a drinking contest and thinks he's drinking mead from a horn and just like completely obliterates the giant, but it was all an illusion and Thor ended up drinking like a fourth of the ocean.
Yeah. It's a good story.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Yeah, because
It wasn't
like
me. We couldn't get drunk.
the illusion, because they thought they ran into like this strange giant that was guarding something, but they actually ran into like the giant that they were looking for and like trying to pull the wool over his eyes, or I don't fucking know what they were actually doing. And basically like they found this person, we're like, yeah, like do these things and like I'll help you with what you want, and they like Thor just like was demolishing everything, and basically eventually the giant was like, okay, I was lying and like said you lost shit, but you actually drank a fourth of the ocean and demolished a bunch of shit, and here's your shit, please leave and don't come back.
They did a reverse Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
We didn't flood. We unflooded. We droughted.
Yes.
We drowned. Or a draft. There's a drought and a draft of beer. There we go. Okay.
Spelled similarly.
Yeah, to kind of the to link that in, that is Gylfaginning, the beguiling of Gylfi.
Oh, so, that's what I was doing?
Logi in
That's what you just did?
Yeah.
Yeah!
It's one of my favourites, but also because we have a lot of info in that story anyway. But yeah, so you have Logi, which
You keep going.
Oh, Logi. Logi means, I think, fire.
Yes.
And Loki and Logi challenge each other, or one challenges the other, I can't remember off the top of my head, to an eating contest.
Yes.
And there's also like exactly, and you know Loki does pretty well, but gets beaten out by Logi. And if you think about the translation of Logi's name to fire, Logi consumes everything, and then it's explained that he's basically a wildfire,
like, including the table.
And there's a wrestling, an old woman. It's like wrestling with old age, and you can't beat it. So there's a lot of like playing and riddles and trickery and all of that.
I love the wrestling with the old lady story. Love that story so much. It reminds me a little bit of the specific story about, can't remember her name. She is a Scandinavian folk figure who was so strong. She was a little old lady, so strong that the devil was scared of her.
Oh, yeah.
Of her.
Can't remember the name, but I remember.
I've looked her name up so much. I should know it by now. It's not in there. Anyway, at what point do we come into mythic literalist territory when we talk about this question? Is it okay to adopt mythic literalism for the sake of such a niche question as this one? I think yes, because it's fun.
You can adopt mythic literalism when it's fun.
It's just the chaos magic of Norse mythology. We're not mythic literalists unless it would be more fun to be one right now. Just at face value, if we take these as literal stories, the guys can get fucking wasted. They do it regularly.
But also sometimes don't.
It. Sometimes.
Like when you...
Sometimes they're sober, I would assume.
Like when you down 3 fats of meat and fly away as a hawk with some dripping out your butthole.
I have questions.
That's a good story. The mechanics of how that hawk body functions. There's no organs in there.
It was one mead-shaped eagle. Oh, eagle-shaped mead. There we go.
Just a
mead-shaped eagle.
Eagle-shaped mead.
Just a vat of mead.
Delicious.
With wings.
Then we get the question, is alcohol and mead so important in the mythos because it was so important culturally? What is the way that it's presented in myth tell us about Old Norse culture? Because I don't think everyone was just having drunken keggers at all times.
No.
It is a little too brosa true to be historical.
I mean, so here's
They had a cultural significance. Anyway, Theo, that was my only point. Please continue.
So my thoughts are, I said earlier, like, it's very, yet again, I don't know the historical stuff of the North. It could have been different than the more southerly area that I was educated on as a child. But I find it to be very likely that alcohol was just kind of a more general thing people consumed just because it was safe. And it was likely like that. And it was probably like 2%, if that. But so like that, people didn't have keggers all the time. They couldn't afford to. Like,
Alcohol does cost money.
it does.
I have also
Well,
not been able to afford a party in there.
but also like they would have to make it, and like, if you're thinking like up there, like they only have so long to make a batch to keep over the winter. Anyways, long story short, supply and demand for keggers was probably not quite amiable for it to be a constant thing. And if they're thinking about the gods, like, you're thinking Asgard, you're thinking of their halls that were people supposedly like believed they would go to when they died, and you're supposed to have, it's like the land of plenty. So I could see these stories saying that the gods had keggers all the time because that's an abundance. That's really what wealth was back then. Like, they always have enough food to gorge themselves all the time.
Right.
So, like, of course they do. They're gods. So these stories of excess could really just kind of tailor into the idea that these are beings they worship and they see them as higher and stuff like that.
Yeah. And we see that, like, abundance and overindulgence come up a lot with deities associated with alcohol. The common thread is abundance and inspiration, because both Dionysus and Bacchus were connected with those things as well.
Yes.
Their specific ways, because there were a lot of differences, of course. We have record of the Festival of Bacchanalia, which was kind of a mystery cult. It's not a mystery anymore, but a lot of it is still very mysterious. Did learn that Bacchanalias have been outlawed in Italy since the year 816 or something, which is kind of funny.
What is
considering
Isn't there?
What's about?
Makes me laugh because I know how I behaved when I was in Italy, and it.
I was just about to say, isn't there a house of Bacchanalia in Pompeii?
Oh, probably.
What is Bacchanalia?
Bacchanalia was a festival
Bacchus.
in honor of Bacchus. It was a big old festival. Very much saying it in this way is going to be inherently reductive, and I need everybody listening to my voice to understand that.
Okay.
But it was quite essentially a drunken orgy festival.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was more than that. It was a ritualistic thing. It was only for those initiated into the mystery cult of Bacchus. It was very mysterious, very important among their specific cultists. From the outside, it looked like a drunken orgy festival.
Yeah, that's fair. I was gonna say, so the reason I ask is like that was kind of, you said it was a festival, and I get that. But I asked, it ended up being kind of what I thought it was, because based on my knowledge of bones, the baculum is the penis bone. So that was why I was like, Kenna, I need you to tell me about this. Just making sure.
Yeah. And while I don't have the same amount of information on Dionysus, because unfortunately we get the Greco-Roman mosh pit of Dionysus is the same as Bacchus, so the cult of Dionysus celebrated Bacchanalia. Like, that's incorrect, actually.
Yeah.
Might have been correct at a point, but there was a before that time.
Yeah.
That wasn't correct. They are not the same gods.
They're definitely not. Not everyone can be born from Zeus's thigh.
No, not everyone.
Yep.
That would be absurd. But one of the other things we see among the deities of alcohol, or who are connected strictly to alcohol, strictly was the wrong word, directly to alcohol, is the idea of freedom and liberation. especially between Dionysus and Bacchus. There is a sub-name of, I'm trying to find it exactly so I don't butcher the pronunciation. I think they're called the father of freedom, Liber Pater, in the era where the Greco-Roman religions were kind of syncretizing and fusing. So he was the god of the freedom of the plebeian people as well. So the freedom to behave in the way they wanted, as well as abundance, because we get that a lot with alcohol as a representation of wealth, ecstasy, because you get drunk sometimes. So there's really cool connections to like the common man there, in addition to like the sex cult stuff.
Which is also very interesting when you think about the Roman impact on Scandinavia, or at least the Viking Age people wanting to emulate and bumping into these Roman relics. So it's quite interesting that most of our gods, or at least are around alcohol, are exposed to it. There's an almost element of grounding the Norse deities in a sort of more everyman approach across the board. I'd definitely say there is an element of, at least in the lore that we do have, of there is kind of that idea of Olympus being very distant, very, very godly, very mortals can never go there, and the world
specifically up on a mountain that no one's ever conquered. It's up in the clouds.
Yeah, and while there is elements of Asgard being similar in some respects, there is more general interaction and more kind of humanness to the gods, and obviously there is a little bit of, because it was due to the conversion period, but having alcohol be so present, obviously you have the idea of like nectar and ambrosia for the Greek gods, but it's kind of like, oh, we have this mead that this is almost like the drink of the gods in a way, and it's uniting like every man sort of idea around the gods. I find it quite interesting.
It's wild interesting. So my friend Sam, not our Sam, other Sam, is very Christian. And he is a Christian in that he is very well read, actually gives a fuck about the theology behind it. So I asked him, actually texted this man, hey, can your god get drunk? Just out of the blue, no lead in, just that. And I got a real answer. That's him.
Yes.
So
clap.
According to him, God, as in God the Father, is theologically above that. My commentary there is, that makes sense. When you think about how Christian theology looks at their God, it makes total sense that they would be not only above the temptation of alcohol, also the effects of it. Totally tracks. Jesus, however, is more fun, because the whole point of Jesus being on earth was that he was human in every way, subject to the same temptation, and by extension, the effects of alcohol in the same way as any other human. Really, I understand that you agree with me. So, really is agreeing. So, can't say that Jesus never drank, because he also lived in a time where alcohol was the safest beverage because water was questionable. It's unlikely that he was ever a frat boy party guy who had keggers with his bros.
Jesus was
no one on this
Jesus was supposed to
no
be
one on
without
this earth
sin.
can say one way or another. Then that's exactly where he went with it. It's not anyone else's responsibility to decide what Jesus would consider a sin, because wine and drinking is still a part of Christian theology, especially when you get to like communion and stuff. So he just like washed his hands of trying to decide if it would be a sin if Jesus got drunk. We're not going to address that. It's not his responsibility or anyone else's. His end-up conclusion was, probably did drink wine and stuff. He probably did not have like a party rager. Even like the way that he was said to operate on Earth as this very virtuous human person.
Yeah.
Sure could have. He was perfectly capable of it.
I feel like there are some Bible stories in which Jesus is partaking, but it's not like you have to understand, like, as I have said like 5 times, it was just the safest thing to drink. So like there are stories where Jesus is drinking wine, but it's not highlighted, Millie, I understand that the oak tree is dropping acorns and it's offensive to you. Here. Oh! I bent down to pick her up at the same time she jumped. We're fine. Anyways, so like there are stories where he's drinking wine, but like it's not like highlighted and it's not like Jesus is having a kegger because Jesus is having dinner. So
I mean, you can turn water into wine. You're telling me that he didn't partake. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was definitely stories
Yeah.
we don't have.
So the story's written
How
between
far
the lines.
Exactly. How much water can you turn into how much wine? And then something happened. The chaos ensued.
Why the waters ran red in Egypt?
Exactly.
Maybe.
I mean, there was a bit of a
all
backwards sort of
backwards logic,
Old
but it's
Testament, New
fine.
Testament stuff, but mythic literalism and mythic time, who knows?
Whatever. So what Sam ended up with saying with me was, did he ever actually get drunk? Did he, Jesus, ever actually get drunk? I am not qualified to answer that because Christians get a little too caught up on trying to weigh and identify sin that we forget it's not really the point. So me trying to say where the line is, drinking becomes sinful, and therefore Jesus wouldn't have done it, is entirely out of my pay grade.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's the answer. But I got an answer. He fully humored me. Bless him. Fun adventure looking at alcohol across different religious areas and cultures. I think the Norse do it best. They party. I like
Yeah, we're not
not boring.
God, words. Most we're biased. There we go. That's the word
We
I
are
was looking
biased.
for.
And a really weird, interesting atmosphere around alcohol among Norse heathens because there is so much emphasis in the myths about the gods doing their godly drunkenness. So it's part of the reason we pushed so hard at the beginning that alcohol is not required to be a Norse heathen.
Mhm.
It is likely really intensely mentioned in the myths because what was this to drink. It is not required that you, as a Norse heathen, party like you're in Valhalla every night. Please don't, actually.
Sounds bad for you.
Yeah, not great. I also
Yes.
fully support at rituals and things. If you go to any in person, try to have some non-alcoholic offerings because you never know what people's lives are and what reasons they have for not participating or partaking in alcohol. So in the interest of inclusion and respect for everybody, try not to make alcohol the only thing you have. Just
I mean, me personally, I ensure there's always a non-alcoholic
good.
like
option.
apple juice.
Like, I mean, or
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, they've had alcohol forever. Give them some fucking Dr. Pepper. That shit's new.
Love to give Loki Dr. Pepper.
I love that for you.
Like Monster energy drink.
Loki
and then
doesn't
get some,
need
like,
that.
excitable
Doesn't need
sign.
that. I'm joking. I've done that before. Yeah, it was fun. I don't know. That was all I had.
Cool. Are we done? Have we finished all of the
Think so.
notes?
Yeah, just
I think we reasonably
know-
covered it quite well. At least part
What?
1. We could do a part 2 and more
Probably,
stories.
actually, we could turn my paraphrase. We could actually read it in like the actual story.
well, I think what we should do is
Maybe. I
Joe
don't
and
know.
I
So,
decide on a myth,
being inclusive
and
in
Steph has to guess.
your ritual, like
Yeah,
with
do it.
non-alcohol, is actually really new to me. I will explain. So, when I was growing up, the church that my family is a part of, the Lutheran Missouri Synod, at least at our church, you had to have wine communion.
That's weird.
And so when I was a minor, they would give us wine. And I even asked our pastor, because, we had to do the education program, was like, what if someone's a recovering alcoholic? And he was like, well, we could take the glass and it could be mostly water and we could put a drop of wine in it, but there has to be wine in there somewhere for it to be a valid communion and stuff like that. And it was really weird to me. Because it's like, why are you giving these people wine? Like, that seems
especially as a leader of a community where the point is caring about your community.
Anyways, also, Teal Deer, my family made all the wine for the church. So, yeah.
Iconic.
That's all I have.
All right, we ready to close it out?
Being inclusive is cool.
Being inclusive, it's cool.
Yeah.
Don't drink the butthole mead. Question mark.
I really want there to be a mead brand that's just like butt mead. It needs to be a thing. We need to roll into this.
I have an idea.
Is the logo gonna be one-eyed eagle and like it's like flying away and you just see its butthole?
There's an eagle that's like really important.
The eagles have
really
a cool
looking one. I just need that with some drops.
And we'll give this one a butthole. It's fine.
Yeah. That really.
It's like, you know when you say like hair of the dog, this is butt of the eagle.
Oh god, no. We'll have to make sure the butthole looks moist.
Oh Jesus Christ! Okay.
Not apologizing.
This is what we're doing now.
Mead.
Okay.
The thing is, with a certain colouring, it'll just look like wee. So you kind of need to you need to go into more detail. You need to ensure it's not just eagle piss. It's.
I'm gonna close this episode
I
so
think
we can.
Might have forsaken us.
This is important heathenry, Kenna.
You know, there's an argument to be made that this is recon heathenry right here, right now.
Anyways.
I'm not saying it's a good argument.
I suspect Kenna's mic may have given up the ghost or something.
You guys can't hear me?
Yeah.
No one can hear Kenna. We can continue talking about eagle butts.
Kenna's a ghost.
So if we're on that vein, like, what shape is the eagle gonna be? Is it gonna be like portly and pudgy?
Yeah, like he's got an eye patch on.
Who are you people?
We are doing a marketing meeting right about now.
I'm gonna end the episode so we can do that.
This is at the very least it's gonna be merch.
It's absolutely gonna be merch.
We're gonna have a shirt with an eagle butt on it.
Mead. Perfect.
Yes. In a very tasteful manner.
Absolutely not tasteful at all. Oh, it's gonna be fucking cursed.
Et pluribus unum.
I'm gonna end this episode because if I don't do it now, we're gonna forget.
I'm gonna need an actual translation for that. Okay. Okay. So now that we have more merch promised,
I promise you, listeners, don't listen to Kenna.
Okay.
It's gonna happen.
Eagle butts.
It may only be on for a day. Limited edition.
I'm gonna mute you both.
I will keep changing the password.
No!
Anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like,
no, it's fine.
About this. Almost an hour.
Make a super secret Heathen Wyrdos 2.0 Red Bubble and announce it, and Kenna will totally not know about it. It'll be fine.
We have no answers because that's the way heathenry works. And the gods get drunk probably only when they want to.
Yes, only when they want to. We're being serious. We're tying it all back. Also, the story of Cavassia reminds me of Pandora, and I'm just going to let that sit. There we go. Moving on.
Okay.
So, in closing, can the gods get drunk? Probably.
Probably, question mark,
Maybe.
shrug.
I don't know. All I know...
Share your favorite story
that they can spit and they have pots. Literally all I know.
We should do a list of things we absolutely know about the gods.
I would have to actually keep track of that while we were recording, and I don't know it right now.
I'm ending the episode
They
now.
have
Remember
plain
to offer
shavings.
some mead,
No.
the like button, check the subscribe
Oh,
button,
God.
and shotgun the
Okay.
bell so you know when we
So,
upload next.
yeah, they have that. They can turn
have
into
mead.
eagles and consume a shit ton of mead and drip some out their
Yep,
butthole.
100%. There's fire.
Yep.
Yep.
Or has a hammer.
Cauldrons. Pot.
Hmm.
Spits.
Yes.
Hammer. Spear. Oh, there's so many more. Cats.
You can join us
Cat's
on
footsteps or
Discord.
the sound of a cat.
and participate in
There's
ridiculous
a foldable ship
conversations like
somewhere,
this.
probably in Tyr's pocket.
We have a Patreon.
There's a snake
You can buy merch there.
and a bowl.
Oh, you can't buy merch on Patreon. Jesus.
Okay. On that note, offer some mead to the like button. Chug.
Theo, can you hear Kenna?
Oh, I can't hear Kenna.
There's
Talking?
I was wondering why I was being belligerent, but
No,
it
I
seemed
can't
like you were
hear
doing
Kenna.
it innocently.
What's going on? All right, I'll stop talking. It's fine.
That was hilarious. Kenna, please.
I can't hear me.
I can be the medium
Perfect.
person. I can translate for Theo if
Am
need
I
be.
the only person that can't hear Kenna?
Yes. You can support.
Did you hear that?
Oh,
Still can't hear me.
At all? That's
no,
so
I can't
weird.
hear Kenna.
Kenna said,
Okay.
I'm not joking.
okay. We're gonna do like a seance. Kenna, you speak, I'll
No,
tell
just.
Theo.
I think I got to Patreon. Somebody finish that and kick the bears out so I can laugh.
She said that we got to Patreon. I'm feeling a vibe here, and maybe we should continue on from Patreon. Yes, Kenna, keep talking. Keep talking. I'm sensing you in the
my
room.
God. Okay, you can support us on
okay.
Patreon if you want.
I see. Oh, wait. I'm also getting a feeling.
Support
Um,
on Patreon.
I hate this.
you know, we talked about the
Kenna.
Redbubble. You can buy our merch. There's gonna be an eagle butthole. Maybe.
Probably, definitely.
Did you hear
No,
that?
I can't
This is
hear Kenna.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay. Like,
Kenna, if you're still with us.
It's the whole episode. Yay, we did it.
Oh, okay. Kenna has decided to end the episode here.
oh, okay.
And listeners, keep Heathenry weird, because this episode turned into a seance at the last minute, so that was
Oh God, you're gonna keep this in here.
I don't know whether the listeners are gonna be able to pick up on Kenna or Theo or neither. So maybe it's just me hosting the last bit of this episode.
Maybe. It's gonna be weird.
Somebody kick the bears out.
Kenna is going to kick the
I don't know if
bears
I know
out.
how to kick the bears out.
Oh.
She has some issues of kicking the
I
bears
think
out.
you have to do it, Soph.
Do I have to do it?
think
Okay,
so.
cool. I am in charge. Listeners, thank you for staying with us. I'm sorry if Kenna or Theo don't come through. But anyway, goodbye.